this wandering monk comes to a Zen master. And the Zen master saw his potential and said, "Where are you going?" And the monk says, "On a pilgrimage aimlessly." Now, as I told Anton, if he just said on a pilgrimage, he would be very constricted, yeah? Like he would have a goal. He would have a sense of what it means to be successful or to fail. I didn't say this, huh? But this is how it's unfolding now. But he said, on a pilgrimage aimlessly, which to me is a beautiful answer because we don't know. I mean, if you're a monk, yeah, if you're on a religious search, you don't know what the mystery will be that we enter into. So on a pilgrimage aimlessly. And the master says, "What is the matter of your pilgrimage?" Just to inquire further. And the monk says, "I don't know." And the master says, "Not knowing is the most intimate." And with that, this wandering monk became enlightened or awake. Yeah. So I told this to Anton because it seems like we don't know how this project will unfold. And it's very wonderful that we don't know. And gives us a chance to be intimate with whatever reality that will unfold. Whoa, like this, you know? And then the authorities closed down my work. They decided meditation was not in their best self-interest. So, I was 60 years old, and I had considered that to be my major work, you know, up to that point. So I said, well, what am I going to do with my life now? I thought, I'm going to go into the world and paint. So my visa was running out in India. Fortunately, I wasn't in China because I would have been arrested. So my friends told me, don't come back. So I couldn't go east, and it was too cold to go west. It was February, yeah, kind of like now. Yeah, it's cold in Germany. And I was doing dynamic meditation, yeah, in the morning. And I thought, I'm going north. I can't go east, go west, I'm going north. So I went to Nepal to renew my visa. Also to hike over Tarunla, which is the highest walking path. So after I did that, I think I also wanted to see if I could do that when I'm 60, yeah, whether I can start a new phase of my life. So I did that. I went back to Pokhara. I was sitting by the Tibetan Gompa, meditating, you know, in front of the lake. And I said, well, I need a photographer. You know, if I'm going out in the world to paint, I have to have a little propaganda, yeah, that says something about these paintings. So I finished meditating. I walked down to this little cafe. There sat this big German guy, and he was a professional photographer. So here we are having another German connection, yeah? So I talked with him about it, and he wanted to take pictures of me, and I said, I will do an energy painting of you. So he wanted to do it on the lake, on one of these boats. So the next morning, I went and bought a piece of plywood and nailed it to the boat and put little railings on it so my stone seals don't fall in the water. And then we went out in the middle of the lake. And his wife, who was Nepalese, insisted on coming. and she couldn't swim, yeah. So, and then the boat started to leak, and she kept on saying, the boat is leaking. The boat is leaking. And then the wind started blowing, you know, blowing my paper and blowing my black felt, and I was trying to keep everything together. But this picture took place when it looked so calm, yeah? So calm in that moment when the mountains just came down behind me like this, yeah? The boat just drifted at that appropriate moment. And then the shot was taken. So, yeah. Now, I think we have a little bit of misunderstanding there. This painting, Peace on Earth, that I told you about, was done at a demonstration at an event at the Seattle Asian Art Museum in March 2003, which was when Americans first, entered into Iraq for the second Iraqi war. And the people at this, I always ask people what I should paint when I'm at a demonstration, because I want them to have a sense of what real life Zen is, what it is to have these forms emerge from the formless, from the emptiness. So I asked them what I should paint. And many people expressed their desire for peace in one form or another. So I felt their wish. And I don't look to see. I used to look, like I used to see image or something, but I don't even look now. And if I have a vision what to paint, I put that aside, because I don't want to be a Xerox machine in my vision. I want it to be just in this moment, because the moment is the most fun. We don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, like what just happened. That was not an interruption. That's just part of the flow. So, so to me, Zen has to do with meditation, of course, because the word Zen is the Japanese pronunciation of Chan. And Chan is derived by the word Chana in Pali, which is the language used by Gautama the Buddha. And Chana is the same as dhyana in Sanskrit or in Hindi, which means meditation. So Zen actually just means meditation. But it has come to have the flavor of meditation that is simple and uncluttered, not a lot of rituals. But you go to a Zen monastery, they are just like another religion. They have all these rituals, all these traditions.
It looks very modern. I guess Tripoli probably looks very different than that. But and then I was all the time sending messages, like to everybody that we are here, that we arrived. But I wasn't sure because I thought, well, maybe they'll trace the messages and they realize that we are here and they were in danger, But actually we are here, so I didn't get it. And suddenly we were just. Everybody was in the street and everybody stopped and looked like a person walked the street, and everybody just stopped because he was just passing by, and I thought, well, maybe it's Qaddafi, but he didn't look like Qaddafi. But still, it was probably a very high-rank general or something like that, and he passed the streets. And then I met him again in the toilet, brushing the teeth, and he looked so friendly, and he said, "Oh, welcome to our country," and whatever. And then the alarm rang, and we woke up.
It's like when one has a goal like that, it's very dangerous, because you miss what's happening, or you can if you get so occupied with that.
What would be your recommendation then?
That we take some time. Not rushing around.
Slow down.
just give that time and space for us to meet. But you see, this is the tricky part. When you intend to do something like that, it may not work. So when I talk about non-doing and the creativity of non-doing, the way I understand non-doing in Chinese, which I have not read anywhere, but I think it's true, my understanding, it derived from the two words wu wei, wu wei. Wu means on the surface, it means no. Wei means intention or motivation. So no intention or no motivation. Now, my observation of myself and other people is this is not possible. We all have intention and motivations. So what could this possibly mean? Wu wei, no intention, no motivation. So in the Zen tradition, wu, where in Japanese they pronounce it mu, also means nothingness. So if you think of it as the nothingness of intention or the emptiness of motivation, then it makes sense. It's like we have intentions, but we hold it in this vast emptiness.
It does make me doubtful sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I told you in our first meeting that I don't even know what the motivations.
Yeah.
What is it
Yeah.
that bring me to do that?
Yeah.
And there were some moments that I remember even the last 3 years, not only with the incident yesterday, but with other cases before, that I suddenly had doubts. Am I doing the right thing? Maybe I'm, damaging the future of my country, creating a stage for other people to use that or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball
Yeah.
to know what's really in people's mind. And it takes a lot of conviction to get back into the path and say, don't listen to these words, just continue to go according to what's here inside.
Yeah.
And do you ever find the answer? I don't know. You probably do the right thing the moment you are doing it out of your conviction. But there are other elements here, that it's not only about myself. It has another dimension.
Yeah. Here's an intention. And here's this vast emptiness. We're on a pilgrimage aimlessly. So we see, we observe. On the one hand, we have some devotion to this intention. On the other hand, we're just watching, see how things unfold. So when I discovered when I was in Shanghai in October, I'm going back to China to teach meditation, is something that comes from my heart. Yeah, I feel like I'm 67 years old. I don't have so many years remaining. And what contribution can I make for however many these years might be, or these days, or these hours? And it occurs to me that because of my connection with the language and with the people, and because it's my roots, that it makes sense for me to go back to China to teach meditation in whatever form that comes. Some of the times it may be I'm just demonstrating Zen painting, and this is one way of showing people what meditation is. I may do some work with a corporation, about how to get clear about what their resources are and what their difficulties are, and work with that. Or I may just be having tea with people. And just like I said with you earlier about breathing from our feet, so that we can be really present. And this is why we're here. I mean, is it possible to really make peace? Or are we just going to be nice about recognizing our differences? So I think, in a way, it's like we're just being ourselves as present as much as possible, whenever, wherever we are. And I have this intention. We are here enjoying tea, and we're here to make a film. And there's this group that's going to the desert together.
It's beautiful. Much more than I didn't expect this at all. I just can't believe the colors and the rock formations, you know. It's the first time in a desert in my life. I've never even seen a desert, so this is a good experience. The state of the world is in turmoil. It's like an upset stomach, you know. It's constantly turning, and it's full of acid, and it just can't settle itself, you know. That's how I feel how the world is today, you know. And we just keep putting quick fix medicines in there to try to fix things, and it doesn't work, you know. What we need to do is change our diet, right? We got to change the essence of the world instead of just trying to take medicine and a quick Pepto-Bismol to settle the stomach. We have to change our ways, you know. Same as, you know, with our health. You know, it's very parallel. Our health and our and the world, you know.
Yeah, I think that human are survivors. They may be doing stupid things on their way, but actually at the end they understand that it's one of their core instincts, surviving, and so they won't be able to really contradict this basic instincts, and they will they are going to find the exit, this emergency exit.
You know, I grew up in the 60s and the 70s with that fear of the USSR and the nuclear tension, you know.
Ooh. Now you reach a very philosophical question. I'm not sure I may answer. I'm capable of answering it. What technology means to me.
I studied mathematics and computer science and wound up working in various numerical systems analysis projects and surgical research lab and a fluids lab, and wound up working on a satellite imaging systems project, and through that decided to become a military intelligence analyst, which I did for 5 years. It was exciting and interesting, and I learned almost nothing about life and almost nothing about people and almost nothing about the world through doing it.
It was always there. We were taught in school, you know, when the bombs come, how to react and go to the bomb shelters. That's how I grew up. And I thought it was hopeless, you know.
We want to have new things, new frontiers. This is one thing, and the promise, the future. What can we do with those things? Going to the space, how can we ameliorate our life, our self-being? Is there anybody else there waiting for us?
The unknown. It's just the unknown. I don't know who the enemy is, because there's no really face to it. You know, it's just the enemy is all this misinformation, you know, from a group of people that live in a bunch of countries that I'm not even sure where they are, you know. Like back in the 80s, or I should say in the 70s and the 60s, it was easy because we kind of knew who the enemy was, you know. The enemy was the USSR, you know, it was East Germany, you know, it was that whole Iron Curtain. And so there was a face to it, and it was tangible. But today it's like, you don't know who it is, you know. Especially, I live in New York City, and New York City is is such a multicultural building, multicultural area, you know, and you know, you look at everyone that might wear a turban or with suspicion. You know, could they be someone that's Al Qaeda or another faction that we don't even know who they are, or are they plotting against us? And that's the scary part, that they're actually living with us in our country, you know, and our kids are going to school with their kids, and we're working side by side, but yet they're patient and they're waiting to do these horrible things in our city, you know. That's the hard part today.
I'm very disappointed to see why we could not move towards peace and happiness. Instead of that, so many wars and so many troubles happen in Afghanistan. Also, it's absolutely wrong to think that maybe the Afghans, they deserve to have this fighting because they like fights. That's not true, actually. We all love life. We want to be happy. We want to celebrate life with anybody, with any type of people, any religion. Afghanistan, like Kabul in the past, at the time of the Silk Route, it was a center of different cultures. There were Jews, Christians, the Chinese, the Hindus, and there was no problem. Even up to 30 years ago, we didn't have problems.
So we need a way to communicate with them. That's what I'm hoping, that, you know, like somehow come out of your hiding and let's sit down and talk about it. Let's see why you have a problem with us in the United States, or, you know. It's hard. I don't know who the enemy is. That's the problem. I wish they would come out so we could sit down and talk, you know.
Well, this is a major step, if there is something like that, because first of all, the problem is, and we see it here, that humans have difficulties to understand and to accept other human beings who are a bit different. The neighbors who lives nearby, Palestinians, whom it happens to be that I don't really know, and I'm afraid they don't know me, and not knowing, it's not. There's no future.
Yes, I spent. I would say I was there for the first month, you know, almost every day, you know, and you know, we would work 24 hours and rest for a few hours, and then go back and do another 24 hours, and you know, in the beginning, walking through that dust, we were praying that some of our guys were alive, you know, and it's funny you should say that I was walking in the World Trade Center, because these are the boots I wore in the World Trade Center. You could see the towers burning, you know, and it was like, the city was just like, it was like a morgue, you know. It was just like, it was so quiet. I'd never seen it so quiet, you know. And I actually wore these shoes every day for a month down at the World Trade Center. I went over the bridge and it was like empty. It was like I was like, I don't know. It was like going into battle, man. It was just like going over the bridge into the front, you know. I got to the firehouse, and I was one of the first guys to get there. And as I pulled into the firehouse, the first tower fell down. You know how it felt? The honest assessment of the World Trade Center to me was that it felt like a cemetery. We were digging, you know, and finding bodies, you know, parts of bodies, arms, legs, torsos, heads, you know, everything. So I felt like the whole site was like some sort of like, you know, instant graveyard.
At the beginning, I was even closer to the event than I said. I came to New York the day before, and I was scheduled to stay there 2 days and leave almost the day after. And I stayed in an hotel, Times Square, which is 49th Street, this hotel. And then I was in my room, preparing to go down for breakfast, switch on the TV, and I see this, already the first building hit.
You know, it was kind of a surreal feeling knowing that this dust was, you know, at one time it could have been part of a computer, a rug, someone's chair, and the person themselves, their actual bodies had gotten pulverized into dust.
And the smell was awful. I was really, I felt deep emotionally touched and cried only because of the smell. And I could go down there to see, never. Till nowadays, I never went to visit this place because I have this smell in my, whenever I think about this.
So we had this kind of smell that permeated the whole area. And this is a smell I'll never forget, but it was just like kind of an ammonia smell, you know, which was the basic component of our bodies. It was just
You just saw a lot of dead bodies?
I don't know. That was the irony. There wasn't a lot of dead bodies. It was just, there was a few, but not a
That's
lot.
why they just disintegrated?
Disintegrated. They were just gone.
What's disintegrated? Just like they're just turned into dust.
The dust is still on my shoes. It's still, you know, it's still ingrained in these shoes, and I think it's so appropriate that I'm wearing them here, because I'm wearing them here to talk about peace. I saw Mike, and he was really beat up. He had a lot of injuries, you know. I said, Mike, what's going on? Fill me in. Give me the update. How's our guys? He said, we're missing Bobby. Bobby was working in my spot. He was a lieutenant. And I feel like I brought them with me. You know, those people from the trade center actually, since they're all ground into my shoes that I wore for a month, they're actually with me right now in these shoes. So I actually brought them with me, if that makes sense.
At this moment, I'm aware that I like breathing with you, or that we are being breathed by existence. And in this silent awareness of this breath, this breathing, we sense this interbeing that is already the fact. That we don't have to work on. It's pretty cool, huh?
So the dust was very important. And, you know, mixing their dust now and bringing them to this place where, you know, it's going to hopefully be the beginning of peace, so they didn't die in vain, you know?
Please do not answer the following question. Will you be able to forgive?
So you don't want me to answer?
It's a simple. It's a nature. It's a nature. Live in peace, I think. But from another side, people always fight. I don't know. From another side, its life is difficult since no, it's not a question money, you know. It's excellent time without war. Excellent time. Excellent thing. But all mankind history, unfortunately, it's a history of war. I am pity about this, but I am realist. I am realist. In my life, I dream find such places. I think I will be remember all my life. This so excellent adventure. Excellent. So beautiful.
It's gonna be a beautiful day, not cold.
So beautiful.
Will do. Who's there up there? Hmm?
When I come back to Ukraine from Iraq, many people ask me, "Oh, why? What he do there? What he do there? That's not our war. That's not our war. Why?" But first time I try to explain. After that, I decide why. They will not understand. They will not understand because they never see how people dies. How people dies. And near with you and sometimes you have stopped it, but you can't. And I saw how people dies because we didn't done our job in Iraq and people dies. If we did, maybe many of them will be alive. I talking about absolutely directly situation in August with Ukrainian contingent. Absolutely directly situation. When some 100 rebels came to Al-Qud and became the massacre. Sometimes you just have no choice. More than 100. Think about this. In this case, 8 American soldiers. 8. We have almost 1,000 in our base. 8 American soldiers come there and fought against many 200 or 400 enemies, trying to protect local people, local civilians. And I saw in their eyes when they come there, in the eyes American soldiers, and I saw in their eyes when they come back from there. You know, it was very shame. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. About such situation. It's maybe one day in your life, but this one day, this 1 hour, this one contact between eyes will change your lives forever. For forever. I'm not to start the war. And show me the soldiers who start the war. Show me such soldiers. I don't know. I don't know such soldiers who start the war. It's always political decision. Always. if you want to talk about the begin the war or not begin, start the war, not start the war, you have to talk not with me. That's not for me questions. You have to talk with George Bush, you have to talk with presidents, with prime minister, with many old guys, high guys, with these guys, not with me. If you want to talk about soldiers' job in the war, if you want to talk about what's happened really in real life, you can to ask me. I have to explain.
ده حدود ده كل ده حدود لا عسكري لا عسكري لا الساحل كله حدود كله جيش كله جيش
Yesterday, I think for many years. Es gibt einen Weg, der Gewaltlosigkeit.
Nach vorne. Wohin das führt, weiß ich nicht. Ich habe im Laufe der Reise erfahren, dass das war vielleicht das wichtigste Ziel für manchen, dass wir oder vor allem die 2, 3 Israelis nach Libyen zu kommen. Das ist mir im Laufe der Zeit bewusst geworden. Und dieses Ziel hat man ja nicht erreicht. Und jetzt so zu tun, als ob nichts geschehen wäre, als ob das nicht so wichtig wäre, finde ich ein bisschen...
America's the only country that's helped Afghanistan.
No. America.
And then you complain.
No, for America. No.
You complain.
No.
We rebuild your country and you complain.
Das war mir nicht klar einfach. Oder niemand hat mir das so gesagt. Und ich war auch so ein bisschen traurig zu erfahren an der Grenze, dass manche Leute den libyschen Grenzoffiziere gesagt haben, so entweder lasst uns rein oder wir werden hier gleich CNN und BBC oder andere Media-Agenturen benachrichtigen, dass das wird jetzt schlechten Licht auf Libyen oder Bruder Qaddafi werfen und das ist ja nicht gut. Das habe ich gedacht, ja, ist das eine Friedensmission oder ist es irgendwie eine Unterdrückungsmission? Das fand ich schon so ein bisschen Mission of Pressure, nicht Mission of Peace. Und ich bin als Arzt, ich habe auch im Roten Kreuz gearbeitet und ich arbeite auch in vielen anderen wohltätigen Vereinen und ich finde, es ist auch wichtig, wenn man sagt, wir sind eine Friedensmission, dass man die anderen auch akzeptiert und respektiert. Ich war wirklich sehr traurig über die Art und Weise, wie man versucht hat, irgendwie da reinzukommen, irgendwie auch sehr viel Druck zu üben und über die Medien auch.
And you just step off the track. But you know, it takes courage sometimes to continue to run, to continue with the race, even though you don't want to, your body doesn't want to, you're tired, you know, you want to go home. You all feel that way. I mean, let me tell you, I got a lot of things going on at home too. If everybody said we're going home tomorrow, it wouldn't really, you know, be the end of the world for me because I got a lot of things to do too. But I just think that we need to have you here as part of this group. You have an important message. We want to hear from you, and we know that maybe this Tripoli thing got us. Some people didn't like the fact we're going to Tripoli, but that's off the table now. That didn't happen. So now we're going back to Plan A, which is talk and discuss the religions, discuss the conflict, and we're having a chance to do that. So this is not a good time to quit the race. I think this is a time for us to
pass your message.
Yeah, to listen to you. I want to hear from you. I really do. I didn't get to hear from you yet, and I really.
It's another negative image.
It's Afghani. I met 2 Afghanis, and I only met 2 Afghanis all my life, and 2 of them, when things began tough, they went.
Ich kenne mich auch, dass ich so ein bisschen dickkopfig bin und dass ich bleibe dann auch. Da weiß man nie, ob das falsch war. Später kann sein, dass es falsch war, aber in dem Moment denke ich schon, dass das Richtige ist für alle.
Was ist? Das ist der Bus? Wann fährt der?
ده بالذات لا ده جاي لنجيه ماشي مش عاوز وشيء بعد الظهر ان شاء الله لا مش جاي النهارده عندي محاضره حتى ما حطيت عندي محاضره لا عندي محاضره
I don't count myself as European because I still stateless till now. I have I don't know what you call it, extreme experience, especially in Iraq. I left my country since '91. I worked with Saddam Hussein. I thought I got to find some safe place after I left Iraq. I've been used by, actually to be honest with you, I've been used by the media.
Enough.
Because in this time Saddam Hussein was the enemy of the West. And somebody like me arriving in a strange country, he don't speak German, he don't speak the language. He ended in a refugee camp. And I was hoping one day I live in a peace. And this has never happened till now. since 15 years. Intelligence service, they never left me alone. بلد مفتوحة، نعم. حدود مفتوحة، والكل أنا بكره الأمريكان بدس جماعتي، أنا بكره ما أعرف شنو بدس جماعتي، أنا بكره الشيعة بدس جماعتي، أكره السنة، فكل اللي أكله هو الشعب العراقي.
بالإضافة لأن الشعب العربي والمسلم الشعب العراقي بشكل
يا أخي
مستهدف.
الشعوب نايمة، ما هذه مصيبتنا. الشعوب نايمة، الحكومات مسيطرة بالدجل مالتها والقبضة الحديدية مثل ما بيقولون.
أنا بحمل الغلطة هاي الكبيرة مش للحكام، بحملها للشعوب أكثر. ليش؟
احنا خلينا الحكام هيك يصيروا.
أنا بدي أقول لك ليش. الإليزيه الثورة الفرنسية بنزل لا قيم ولا أخلاق ولا عادات ولا تقاليد. نزلوا أنفسهم تحت المشاة وتحت الجيش، دمروا سجن الباستيل،
صح.
دخلوا حرروا صارت ديمقراطية، كل سنة بيحتفلوا فيها ثورة الباستيل.
We do have this sense of responsibility to try to do the right thing in the world. In Iraq, it's open for debate whether or not the war should have been started. I can't really say. I mean, we're there now. I think we have to see it through. It's short-sighted, I think, to say that what we're doing over there right now is a failure, because 20 years from now, if Iraq is a stable democracy, Syria is a stable democracy, Iran is a stable democracy.
One of the English paper did an interview with me. I say in the end of the article, must Saddam Hussein, he don't be charged alone. Must George Bush and Tony Blair be same cell, because they are the murder of Iraqi people.
There might be statues of George Bush all over the Middle East. We don't know. We can only look at things in today's headlines that 20 people were killed in a car-side bombing. We don't know what's going to happen when the next generation of Iraqis that have the benefit of freedom, have the benefit of internet, have the benefit of education. We don't know what's going to happen in that country. But my feeling is that it's going to get better. I mean, right now there's evil forces that don't want to see Iraq go forward. They don't want to see democracy. They don't want to see freedoms come into that country. So they're fighting tooth and nail, killing civilians right and left. But I think their day is going to come. The day will come when Iraq is going to rise up and they're going to say enough is enough. They're going to turn those people in. Those people are not going to be able to operate freely, and the level of violence is going to decline to a point where there's not going to be that much violence anymore. I think that day is coming. When it's going to happen, I don't know.
All these propaganda. I know the Western media is professional with the propaganda. When they want to make a war, they make a war.
There is a purpose for war, because in the world there are evil people.
They give me 2 pages to read. It's like I'm Saddam Hussein telling the Iraqi army to surrender when the America coming. I say no. They give me blank check to put the number I want. I don't want.
There are evil people that really want to do bad things to other people, and sometimes the only way to resolve the situation is to confront them through warfare.
Next day exactly, they come to my home. I was in England, and they say to me, "Are you Latif Yahya?" I say yes. They say to me, "You're under arrest for deportation to Ireland. Where is your residency? I say, why? They say to me, you are dangerous for our society.
Maybe we didn't want to go to war, but we felt like that was the only alternative we had. In other words, there just was no other way. Now, there are pacifists in the world who don't like war, no matter what the situation. But I think they're very naive because they usually live in free countries where soldiers have fought and died for that freedom, but yet they don't want to sacrifice anything. They don't want to become involved in conflict, and sometimes there's a great need for conflict, and when it happens, it's the duty of the soldier to fulfill his mission and do what he's supposed to do. If you're in hand-to-hand combat and you have to kill a person while you look at them, it certainly is going to have a greater impact on you than when you push a button and a cruise missile goes 8,000 miles away and kills somebody. So I mean, yeah, technology makes it easier maybe and cleaner to kill people, but I'm an Army guy, and I believe that in the final essence of combat, you really need people on the ground. These are the guys who are always going to be looking the enemy face to face. You can't win a strategic war with just air power or naval power. You need ground forces to go in and seize the ground or seize the terrain.
Infantry.
So those guys are confronted with that. They know what it's like to shoot someone, but normally in combat you don't think badly about it because that other person normally is trying to kill you. So, and they're trained by their government, they're sent there to kill you, and your job is to defend yourself, defend your buddies next to you. So it's not a traumatic thing to kill an enemy soldier that's trying to kill you. At least it wasn't for me. Yevgen is such an interesting young guy. He had the experience of serving in the Ukrainian military and going to Iraq.
I'm looking at now everywhere is a flower. Because if you don't look at the light always, your life got to be dark always. Look at the future, not just for yourself. As I say, life is short. Look at for your kids, your grandkids. Look at for your neighbor kids. Make a future for them, Maybe a lot of people go to say it's a philosophy now. No.
He served alongside the U.S. Army, and his goal in life now is to want to join the U.S. Army. And I can help him do that. If we can get him over to the U.S., I certainly can help him do it.
Yeah, it'd be great if you can get that and go. I'm sure you can enlist because they're short people right now. So
I hope, because I very like army, professional army.
There you go. Just have to get there.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think your mannerisms change.
Yeah, I'll help you if I can. Just give you my card, and if I can assist you, just let me know.
I know my way is correct. I know, I am sure. My way is correct. And I don't want all my heart. I want to make this world is better. But sometimes you need a teacher.
There's no right way, yeah? I feel very deeply there's no right way.
Reincarnation? Not really. And maybe you could, unless you you could give me some assurance. No, I'm not a reincarnation guy. I believe we do have a spirit, and we need to We need to do what we can to keep our spirit alive and healthy. We're all individuals, you know, but don't necessarily believe in reincarnation. Well, I wouldn't want to be an animal that humans eat, because they just kill everything and serve it up, you know, to go to the restaurant, you know. But I don't know, some kind of animal. I mean, you know, maybe like an eagle, or you know, something that can really soar and get a big perspective of what's happening, because people tend to be very narrow in their perspective. So I'd like to be an eagle, maybe, so I could get a bigger perspective of the world and maybe see how things are transpiring.
I think it's life and people sorting out through learning about issues of authority and power and communication together. It's complicated to even talk about working on issues of power, because immediately people often feel that there's something that holds them down, as if being powerful is not okay. But as a conflict psychologist, I want to support people personally and culturally and nationally to be powerful and to bring that power out, but to bring it out with more awareness in a more creative way that's more helpful for them and for the others, so that we're more related.
Are you Stan?
I am. Are you Alok?
Alok.
It's great to meet you.
Nice to see you.
How are you?
Great.
And using our power together in creative ways rather than using our power to slug each other.
Well, I will take my hat off to you.
There's like 10,000 people on the inside and all over the map. Who am I? I don't know. I'm a conflict psychologist. I love process-oriented psychology and the study of deep democracy and how can we bring spirituality and psychology and awareness of social issues and rank dynamics and authority issues together as we work towards resolving conflicts. And even the concept of resolution of conflict. People need those moments of resolution, but any moment of resolution is a momentary thing, because there's so many conflicts that continue and there's so much complexity to our greatest conflicts. I actually don't think that they're, in a certain sense, they're not resolvable. They're maybe not meant to be. They're just part of the chaos of our ongoing evolution as as intelligent beings learning how to get along together and how to develop governance and how to develop communications. What do we do? Why are we here? Is this a media extravaganza to create a logo for BTI? Are we here to actually learn together about cultures and people in conflict? Are we here? Why are we here? My experience was that the group was leaving him because he wasn't congruently, completely saying, I'm going yet. And until I heard a more clear signal from him that he was going, my feeling was that the group was leaving him. And then I couldn't see any difference between like, why are we leaving him? We got to the Libyan border and we agreed not to leave the Israelis who were not allowed to come in. Why are we leaving Yahya?
If he says in the morning 9 o'clock that he wants to leave, what will be the responsibility? To convince him to stay or to make sure that he gets what he wants?
I guess probably most of everything I'm learning myself out of that. We're not here to give you anything. As I said yesterday, we're organizing that you'll have food and that you'll get from A to B.
And one of the almost impossible possible things that might happen is that people will sense a greater and deeper community than just the community they come from. Now this is a miracle if it happens. No one is left out. Now is a very basic understanding of a group as a system is that no one is excluded. Even when the person wants to exclude himself, that we still include him in some way. Anybody else?
And my sense in that moment was, if we lose Yahya without doing that, we're not breaking the ice. We're not doing the work of going to a deeper level of democracy together as a group. And for me, that's really important. I think it may be one of the things, as Buckminster Fuller described, as being one of those things that's on the critical path for our continued fitness for survival as a species, that we learn to be far more authentic in our interactions. And in the end, Yahya said, you know, I really have decided to go. Great, great. And the group decided to go on. Also great. I'm the worst. I'm terrible. I'm the worst. Actually, I had to work on myself this morning. And that same moment when I saw the police officer shove this kid and kick him, I was out the door and running down the sidewalk yelling at him and went, wait, this is not good. Stop. All right, we need a little peace. And I just stood in front of him and said, salam, salam, peace, slow down, really to work on myself and get myself to slow down.
We just walk in the street, look to the tanks. Nothing happened. Just we hear one shot come to his back, out from his leg. He starts shouting. We put him in the ambulance, but he was so bleedy. And I think after a few hours we make the funeral and finished.
And I prefer to be a human being that thinks and feels, and not an animal.
Forgive who? That's the question. Forgive who? Not the ability to forgive. Forgive who? The people. the government.
I don't think you can extinguish the fire, first of all. I think what we try to do is control the fire. Because fire is sometimes a good thing. It's light, it's warm.
The East, the West, the media. You should choose it first. You want to forgive who? That's the question. محمد عزام العرجة.
I meet him not in the desert, but sometimes during my flight, especially during my night flights. He wrote a book of night flights, and sometimes when I'm there in my cockpit looking at the stars, I think of him and of the little prince a lot. What's its torture? Torture may be physical, but is always connected to the mind. Actually, is the suffer. So it was a spying aircraft, huh? In the beginning, there is me and against my interrogators, the people who interrogate me, who torture me. There is a fight, a combat of minds. This was one part. But later on, the fight is between you and yourself, or me and myself. How to deal with the solitude. And the question was, will I be the same? Am I going to be the same? Am I going to... my personality will be changed so dramatically that it will influence the rest course of my life.
And yet he's killed people. He dropped bombs on Palestinian targets in southern Lebanon. He's sitting in the car next to a Palestinian right now. And he told me that he knows Arabs before this journey across the Sahara, and he's friends with Arabs, but as an enemy, he never got to know them. And he considers that a privilege for being a pilot. As a pilot, he dropped bombs from afar. He never had to look his enemy in the face and then kill him.
I wanted to be back as normal as I got in, to go back into society among my friends, and that nobody will even realize what I've been through. That was my big concern. I have a pretty good idea of some of the things that I gain. I don't know what I've lost, because lost things are lost forever. You cannot feel they're not there. I don't know to define adequate at that situation, or who can or is in charge of define adequate. But I was questioning myself at the time, looking at myself from above, and am I reacting as properly, etc. So I was occupied not with the pain, but with the reaction, with my behavior. Don't forget it was during interrogation.
He said worse than the torture was the passage of time and not being in control of that. He said we are all addicts of time, and the passage of time became something that almost terrorized him. He said he would pick a date 6 months in advance. For instance, he said if it were winter, he would say, well, winter isn't a good time to be released. My captors won't let me out in winter, but springtime, that'll be the time where they'll release me. And he picked a date out of thin air and said,
do I hate my wardens and interrogators? Do I really hate them, or do I understand them? Yeah, very
I think
unique.
Gil was one of the strongest men in the group.
He really spoke about how to stay sane in a hopeless situation, and he did.
No. Out of the question.
As a reporter, I've come close to death, not my own death, but I've covered disasters and suicide bombings and terror attacks and military maneuvers in the Middle East. And I've seen people die before my eyes. I saw a 13-year-old Palestinian boy shot in the head by a rubber bullet from an Israeli military in Ramallah, and he died an hour later. This is a rubber bullet that's used for humanitarian reasons. But it doesn't, it's news. I see it through the eye of a camera, or I'm writing it in my notebook. I'm not thinking about my own mortality, certainly not. I don't know if I answered your question. What's my idea of death?
Not at all. I'm here.
We are on the same boat.
We've been on the same boat for a long time.
Same boat. ممكن نسكافيه؟ Huh?
Tea.
Okay. I was in the desert fighting Iranian people.
There was one time when I actually saw him as an Iraqi, and I said, God, he was there. He was part of that. During all the times that Iranians were suffering, he was on the other side. But then again, I know enough to also know that it's two sides, you know. I mean, just as many young Iraqis, you know, men and women died as well. For what? For what? For absolutely, for
nothing.
In the end, I still don't know why they died. 1 million people died in Iran because of that war. 1 million people.
Iraq same.
We just have to be a spectator of the things that unfolded in our countries. So, you know, and that's when I would get off of it again with him, and he was to say something and I'll just start laughing, and then in that moment we're human beings again, and we're Middle Easterners who have the same sense of humor. We see the same things that are funny, the same things that are ridiculous to us, and then we just connected again, you know, as two people, not as two countries. Hello. This trip only might have just shown 1% of what a Muslim is, and maybe 1% of what an Iranian is. But it's still 1%, and that's okay too. Maybe a gorilla, maybe a monkey or a gorilla, because we share so much of the same genetics, and yet they don't speak and talk, so they can't get themselves into that much trouble. I'm so far yet so close. I look at the water, it reminds me of the Caspian Sea where my father lives, where I visited as a kid all the time. I look at the mountains in front of me, beautiful, majestic mountains, it reminds me of Iran. And yet, you know, so far away mentally, so far away culturally than my own country, so far away from my comfort zone and my friends in America, which is this is where I live, it's where I'm comfortable at, it's what I know. So I'm so far away, and at the same token, this trip has made me realize that we're also connected, so maybe I'm not so far away at all. It's whatever you want it to be. At any moment, it's right there.
I feel it. I have to do whatever I can to get the feeling of being secure or being safe to my life. And this is a feeling I miss for like 10 years. And peace is the only way to get this feeling back for me.
Even talking about safety is a complicated subject, because so many people in the world have no safety, have no access to safety at physical or psychological levels. So it's even expecting or wanting safety is a very privileged position. And yet I know that we are all extremely vulnerable, so safety is also important. So I'm searching for ways to support that balance between trying to be safe and support all of us and care for all of us, and also support the different styles of communication and the different levels of frustration and rage and suffering that come up in this work and really need to come out also.
I don't know, I'm always having a dilemma, especially in this journey, I think. But like when to tell other people that I come from bereaved family, that I lost my mother in terrorist attack.
So for us, part of the art of living is to know when we're under the conditions of survival and danger, and when we are just resting in our being. This is a knack. If we know, we can bring a lot of peace in our world.
And at 1 o'clock that day, I started a new life, a different life for me. And in this journey, it was much difficult because it was like, this was my identity card from the start, which was the first time that I introduced myself this way. My name is Galit, and my mother was killed. Yes and no, I think. Right now, I feel that maybe like even we, the Middle Eastern people, are far away from the Western people. My way of thinking is much more emotional and basic, thinking of basic needs than you right now. In a way, we are like even talking within two waves. Like I'm on one wave and you are transmitting in another different wave. Sometimes I felt also in this journey that they're trying to make it more than intellectual debate, all this conflicts issue. What is this person wrote about it, especially from Stan, like very intellectual point of view. I'm not there. Like I'm in this conflict between the Israeli and Palestine. First of all, my heart is in there, and then my mind. And there are some people who just their mind in there. And also, I mean, for me, it's a daily struggle. It's a daily conflict. I see it a lot when people outside Israel, Europe, especially European or American people, see a couple of things. First, that they see the conflict and they right away know the answer or the tools how to solve it, which I find very also, like, in a way it's superficial. I mean, if it was that easy, we had peace years ago. Because if you ask any person in Israel, in Palestine, they all say we want peace. Things are much more complicated than that. Regarding the animals, and although I'm vegetarian, but not because of this reason. Just I don't like the taste of it. I'm also not very environmental. I mean, it's not that I'm neglecting or want to. I mean, consider the earth I live in. I still remember I have to pick 2 pieces of cigarettes. Although in this journey I left it all over the desert, but I usually don't do it in my city. But for me, these struggles are luxury. Luxury. I mean, I feel that, especially, I mean, in Israel, we are in a struggle for surviving. We have to, I think thinking of myself, I'm sorry, before the animals, before the plants, before the earth. And in a way, I envy. I mean, I think I envy other people who are taking their time and effort to do this. It's for me. It's like you're talking with about art to someone who has no food to eat. My basic needs comes before that. So I know it's not a politically correct answer to give you, but this is how I feel.
Some bars and some imaginative freedom together, mixed frames and colors all mixed together. Maybe the mix of jail and the dreams of freedom.
I was involved in a team that made a mistake in Beirut during the 1982 Civil War when the U.S. Marines held the Beirut airport, supposedly, hopefully as a peacekeeping mission. That was the hopeful vision behind it, but it's complicated when you take the soldiers of such a powerful entity as the United States and insert it somewhere hoping that it'll do some good without necessarily having a lot of awareness of all of the other views and consequences of doing that. And this is the incident that happened. That was the mistake. Was the Marines were taking fire from factions in one of the apartment buildings surrounding the airport, and we got the order to lob a 500-pound laser-guided bomb into it, and we hit the wrong apartment building. I woke up one day and realized that there was something happening at the executive team that was very different from that. That was like living in razor wire. And I walked out of the meeting and walked out of my job and walked out of a marriage and walked out of my life.
So sometimes life happens this way, sometimes life happens that way, and our capacity is to accept and enjoy it, and to put our energy in making the smile.
I was right when I said smile.
Yes, you can think you're right, or you can think, this is how I would like the world to be.
Morning. Morning. It's 6:20.